And you are tuning in to the web edition of Testosterone Fantasy Sports. Of course, I'm Jesse. I'm excited to be joined on set tonight with my good friend Yeasty and this other guy, Zach. We let him come on the set with us. We're hoping he doesn't screw up the pooch too bad. But I guess that if you've looked at any of the other takes on here, you know that he's holding it down. Zach, good to have you.
I take her down nice.
Yeah, exactly. Well, guys, we're calling this segment Recent NFL Happenings. The fantasy junkies out there, if they've been tuning in to testosteronesports.com on a regular basis, they've been seeing all of the work that I'm doing on the vein on a daily basis, spending hours of my life keeping them abreast of all these situations. What are you guys doing on the vein?
I'm on there. I do lots of responses. I mock all your vein drops.
Okay.
I'm on there, man.
I
do the mock draft.
What am I going to say? That hey, you put up about 2 to my 1?
You cover everything.
Hey,
like 6 to your 1.
whatever.
Yeah. But the fantasy
We're
junkies.
A team. Are we not a team?
The fantasy junkies like it that way because, honestly, I'm the best writer on the panel. So with that, we will talk about recent NFL happenings. The first thing that we want to get into, of course, in the offseason, a major fantasy, with major fantasy flavor, free agent signings and free agent happenings, guys. Of course, a lot of players in the offseason changing teams, and it really can change the landscape of fantasy football. So kind of jumping in, we're going to talk about some names, volleyball it around a little bit. The first guy, a guy that fantasy owners out there have been waiting to have this one shining moment, this chance to break out. Of course, I'm talking about Michael Turner, who was LT's backup. Zach, you're sporting LT's jersey right now. Tell us what you think about Michael Turner going to the Falcons.
Well, I obviously think there's other places he could have went that he could have been more productive. I mean, the Atlanta Falcons have a weaker offense, but I think he'll be solid. He's got the power you need, and he's got great speed, so he could produce decent numbers. I'm looking at somewhere like 1,200 maybe, 8 to 10 touchdowns, kind of the high point, but I think he can be relatively productive there.
We've released all of our rankings so far on the website. You can go into the writers page, click on any writer's face, and it'll enter into their page. All of these guys on the panel tonight, Jeff included, have released their rankings. Yeasty, what type of flavor did you give Michael Turner in your rankings?
I've got him in the mid-20s. I've kind of, from everybody from about 19 or 20 to about 28, it's pretty much interchangeable if you ask me. So, I have him in about the mid-20s. We'll see how it goes in the preseason and how he runs. So, I think about like Zach does, about just over 1,000 yards, high single-digit touchdowns probably.
Now, Turner owners out there have to be psyched because the guy finally gets out from underneath LT's shadow. He's definitely shown some big playability in his limited time in the lineup. He's yet to make his first NFL start, so I kind of have a little bit of a wait and see approach with Michael Turner. I'm not going to swallow the bait whole, but the people that are really depressed about this have to be the guys that own Jarius Norwood out there in keeper leagues because Zach, I mean, Norwood's basically just Turner's handcuff at this point, right?
Well, you had to be delusional to think that Jarius Norwood would ever be, a productive NFL running back. He's lean. He doesn't have a lot of power. He's got big playability, but that's occasionally. He's more of a third down back. He's got decent receiving skills, but he was never going to be an every down back in the NFL. And Turner's that guy, so.
Right. Well, Turner's definitely going to get his opportunity. He's probably going to be one of those backs out there that fantasy owners are going to look to as their number 2 back to start the season. I think he makes a great number 3. If you're able to get him as your number 3, you're probably going to be satisfied with that. But other than that, I'm saying I think his ceiling is about 8 touchdowns in a pretty lame offense. Yeah. Another guy who's switched teams, running back who has a chance to shine now, Julius Jones, who is overshadowed in Dallas. Yeasty, he's headed to the Northwest. Is he really going to supplant Shaun Alexander in the Seahawks backfield? Julius Jones.
Well, it didn't take Sammy Morris much to do it last year. So Shaun Alexander got paid. He got slow. He got lazy. I think Julius Jones is going to be the best option in that backfield so far, unless they draft somebody in this month's NFL draft. But again, I mean, how high is that going to be in a pass-happy offense?
Right.
Probably about Michael Turner type numbers. That's why all those guys I said are interchangeable. I've got him in the mid-20s as well in my rankings. So especially with T.J. Duckett being there to take the goal line carries as well.
So yeah, Julius Jones likely going to be the starter in Seattle. So as you mentioned, you see that kind of leaves Shaun Alexander on the outs. And it appears that the team is probably going to cut him. He's got an injury right now to his hand. Zach, you look at Sean Alexander, he's obviously a major downgrade from where he was a year ago. I mean, last year a lot of guys took him in the first round. Is Sean Alexander going to land on his feet here, or is his NFL career just over?
It just seems like he got paid, and he got fat and lazy and slow all of a sudden. Personally, I feel like they're going to cut him. They can't really afford to pay him that unless he really wants to take a huge pay cut and then kind of be a mentor to Julius Jones and T.J. Duckett. I mean, he's got the veteran presence that they could use on the team, but they just cannot afford to pay him the millions of dollars that they're paying him right now.
I think there's going to be a couple teams out there that are interested in Sean if he does get cut. One place I think that he'd fit in nicely would be the Bears. I don't think they're going to draft a back. They just can't invest that much cash when they've got Cedric Benson, but they definitely need something else at the position. So I wouldn't be surprised if Chicago looked at him. There's a couple other teams out there. Detroit could potentially have interest in him, although I think they'll look for a running back next month. But if you've got Sean Alexander in a fantasy league right now, in a dynasty or keeper league, you got to just hold on to him and cross your fingers and hope that he might have one more chance. But it seems to me that his career is going pretty much down the route of Eddie George's, guys, ending pretty quick.
Yeah, just as soon as it starts to drop off, he's done, is off the map, finito.
Okay, another major development so far this offseason, which I got to say as a Vikings fan just makes me want to laugh. Of course, I'm talking about Brett Favre on the
What a hater.
Tip. I mean,
the
guy was bawling at his retirement press conference. Now he's coming out with, I might come back, I might not come back. I mean, Brett Favre is completely annoying to me at this point. Aaron Rodgers isn't a new face in a new place, but he kind of is because Favre has started every game since World War II for the Packers. So, guys, what do you make of Aaron Rodgers? Does that one half of football that he played in the Dallas game really make him a viable fantasy option right now, Zach?
I think he has the potential. He's got all the surrounding parts he needs. He's got good receivers in Donald Driver and Greg Jennings, who are both, or Greg Jennings is really coming to his own after last year. They have a solid running game. Ryan Grant really came through last year and really started to produce. He's got a good offensive line, so he's got all the weapons that he needs. So now it's just all up to him to see how he produces. I think he could fare very well. He did show a lot of potential in that Dallas game. He played a really formidable team in Dallas and performed well. So I expect at least an above average season out of Aaron Rodgers. I got to rank that number 19 right now with the potential to move him up based on how the preseason goes and then into the season. So.
How many games will Aaron Rodgers stay healthy for, East?
That's the key question. I mean, is how many games is he going to start? He hasn't. The times that he's been in there, he's already had to leave some games with injuries. So, if he starts more than 12 games, I mean, I think you'd have to think he's going to be productive when he's in there. But, we'll have to see what happens to him and see how he reacts when he gets hit in the mouth a few times.
A couple wide receiver positions to talk about real quickly. Dante Stallworth, he leaves New England. He's not coming back to the high-potent, high-powered offense there. Instead, he lands in another pretty good situation. I like the Cleveland Browns. I like what they're doing. Easty, you're the Cleveland aficionado. What do you think about Dante Stallworth going to Cleveland? He's going to be playing in an offense that has some weapons.
Yeah, they've got some decent weapons built in already. He adds to that aerial attack, and I think that's actually going to help Braylon Edwards and Kellen Winslow more than anything. He'll get the home run balls, kind of like he did in New England at times. He's not a possession-type receiver, but it can't hurt. He was better than Joe Jurevicius, that's for sure.
So taking his place in New England's offense, of course, is Jabbar Twig Legs Gaffney. I haven't seen a guy with skinnier legs than that since Todd Pinkston. But Gaffney is going to start. They are not putting Welker on the opposite side. They're going to keep Welker in the slot, which I personally think is great for Welker. I think he would really bog down if you put him out on the other side. But Gaffney, Zach, I mean, should fantasy owners really even worry about him?
He could be a bye-week replacement guy, but I think he's going to be too inconsistent. He'll have decent games here and there, but I think Welker's more of a number 2, even though he's sitting in the slot. And the reason they put him at the slot because they give him that mismatch. He's way too quick for any safety or linebacker. So essentially, Welker will be the number 2 on the team, just on the depth chart. Gaffney's number 2. So.
Okay, a couple more wide receivers landing on a new team this offseason, and of course, both of these guys landing on the same team. The Carolina Panthers really feeling the heat. John Fox probably has one more season left in Carolina unless he gets this team back to the playoffs. DJ Hackett signs with Carolina, and Muhsin Muhammad comes back to Carolina in the offseason. Guys, which of these two players do you think is going to have a better season in Carolina? We'll start with you, East.
I think if you go on a per-game basis, it's going to be DJ Hackett, but again, that's another guy that has a lot of injury issues. I think if you went overall total points for the year, could actually end up being Muhsin Muhammad because he's more of a steady guy that's going to play every game. He may not have the per game numbers that DJ Hackett will have, but he's going to stay healthier longer than DJ Hackett's proven he can.
Okay, and Zach, what do you think the presence of these two guys in this offense is going to do for Jake Delhomme as he recovers from the Tommy John surgery? And more importantly for fantasy owners, what are these guys going to do for Steve Smith?
Well, I think he definitely can't hurt having these two new receivers. It might take him a little while to kind of get a rapport going together with them. But it'll definitely be great for Steve Smith because he won't have to face the double teams as much. DJ Hackett has the ability to be a high caliber offensive weapon, so I think it'll be great for their offense.
Was that like a yo rapport? What was
rapport? What's the word?
It's rapport.
Rapport.
There you go. You spell it rapport though.
Rapport.
So when you write it on one of those vein drops,
I don't usually use that word.
Put rapport.
When you put me on the spot, I'm not really a Carolina guy.
One guy that this could help out, though, to get you away from the rapport thing is
Dwayne Jarrett. I got it now.
Dwayne Jarrett could actually flourish under the tutelage of Muhsin Muhammad, who has been a good mentor, so it could help him out. So
Dwayne Jarrett.
Hey, it could help him out. I'm telling you. I'm not saying he's going to be a viable guy.
And monkeys might come out of my butt.
I've seen worse things come out of there.
Okay, so we hope you've enjoyed this segment. Jeff's going to be on in a couple more segments. We're going to talk about the purple. We're going to be back with more. We love the fact that you're checking out the website. Take some time after this is over to go to the best spot on the website. Of course, I'm talking about my Writers page. Click on my ugly mug and check out everything I'm putting down on the Writers page. We'll be back right after this, testosterone style.
TMZ right there.